18 college students facing charges in the death of this young man, a student who fell down the stairs of a fraternity. Why did they allegedly wait nearly 12 hours to call for help? The fierce backlash tonight after President Trump's victory, the House voting to repeal and replace Obamacare. Tonight, many Americans with pre-existing conditions asking, what about us? Was it excessive force? New video emerging tonight, the student in a chokehold at school, the officer under fire already. What we've now learned. And the narrow escape on the interstate. The debris coming loose after a truck slams into a bridge. Multiple drivers hit.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Friday night. And we begin with powerful storms slamming the east, tornadoes, major floods, and now flights canceled coast to coast as we come on the air tonight. A number of confirmed tornadoes and high winds destroying this store in Garden City, Georgia. Further north, cars plowing through this flooded road in New Jersey. And here in the New York City area tonight, drivers suddenly trapped in fast rising waters. Meteorologist Rob Marciano leading us off.
Tonight, the powerful storm now barreling through the Northeast. Streets looking like lakes and rivers across the New York metro. Heavy equipment helping this group of stranded workers get to dry land. Firefighters having to help others get out of their cars. One of Manhattan's main arteries partially shut down. Subway platforms flooded.
You actually can tell when the waves come.
And parking garages unable to extricate all that water.
There are 5-hour delays at JFK.
Getting around by air, not any easier. In the south, a funnel cloud spotted at the Atlanta airport, and a likely tornado doing damage near Savannah.
I just knew I was going to go up in the air. I was right there. The debris was flying right at me.
Dangerous driving in North Carolina. Watch this car crash into a fallen tree. And a tornado outside Raleigh, sending a tree crashing into Phyllis Stark's home.
I felt wind coming through my house, and I screamed to my husband, trees in the house.
Slamming right into the room where her grandson sleeps.
Dangerous weather moving through late today. Let's get right to Rob Marciano live along New York City's West Side Highway tonight. Rob, what's the track?
Well, this storm has not lost much punch as it hits the East Coast. Still torrentially raining across eastern Massachusetts. Flood warnings up for Providence and Boston. The watches remain up, looks like through tomorrow morning. This low is very slow to move, so more rain will rotate through, and it'll hang around tomorrow as well. So more cool showers and snow showers as well. So a lot of cold air sinking in. That's going to set up a blocking pattern for cool, unsettled weather, it looks like, right into next week. David?
Rob Marciano leading us off tonight. Thank you, Rob. We turn next year to another major headline this Friday night. A stunning indictment. 18 college students, members of a fraternity, facing charges now after the death of a student at a pledge party. Timothy Piazza fell down the stairs, authorities say no one called for help for nearly 12 hours. Why did they wait so long? ABC's Gio Benitez at Penn State tonight.
Today, 8 members of a Penn State fraternity arraigned in a Pennsylvania courtroom 3 months after the death of a pledge at a frat house party.
It's heartbreaking all around. There's no winners.
They were charged with involuntary manslaughter, assault, and hazing. The fraternity and 10 others facing other charges in connection with the death of 19-year-old Timothy Piazza, a pledge at Beta Theta Pi. Prosecutors allege frat members pressured Piazza and other pledges to run a gauntlet of drinking stations, consuming 4 to 5 drinks within 2 minutes. Piazza then falling down a staircase. Documents show one brother texting, he fell 15 feet down a flight of stairs, hair first, going to need help.
They didn't call for help.
Prosecutors say there was no call for help for close to 12 hours. The surveillance footage from that night shows Piazza visibly bruised as frat members try unsuccessfully to revive him, rubbing his chest, pouring liquid on his face. When one brother urges them to get help, he's allegedly overruled and shoved into a wall. The next morning, documents say, one brother describes Piazza on the verge of death.
And when they finally did call for help, they did not tell anyone that he had fallen. When he arrived at the hospital, it was too late.
Prosecutors say they're worried that morning that police would discover evidence of hazing and alcohol, cleaning up, deleting messages, and coordinating their story. One brother allegedly texting, "Tell them what I told you guys," found him the next morning around 10 a.m. and he was freezing cold, but we decided to call 911 instantly because the kid's health was paramount. Defense attorneys reportedly argued the students didn't realize the seriousness of his injuries.
Of course, it's a tragedy, but that doesn't mean there was any intent involved in any of this.
Piazza's devastated father today saying no family should have to go through this.
This is the result of a feeling of entitlement, flagrant disobedience of the law, and disregard for moral values that was then exacerbated by egregious acts of self-preservation.
And Wjla Benitez with us live tonight. Wjla, we know the students have not yet entered a plea, but Penn State has already permanently banned this fraternity.
That's right, David. And tonight, the university's president calls the alleged details sickening and difficult to understand. David.
Wjla Benitez with us live. Wjla, thank you. We turn next this evening to the backlash after President Trump's victory. The House voting to repeal and replace Obamacare. And this photo out today of the president and his staff watching the moment the House bill was passed. But across the country tonight, Americans, some with pre-existing conditions, now asking, what about them? And this evening, what happens when lawmakers are asked, did they read the bill before they voted on it? ABC's Mary Bruce on Capitol Hill.
For House Republicans tonight, their health care vote is hitting home.
He lied, but we won't let our people die.
In New York, voters protesting in the rain. And in Michigan,
ACA is the way.
Still, the president today basking in the glow of his first health care victory. The White House tweeting this photo of aides cheering the moment the bill passed. But Trump's comments soon after to Australia's prime minister now raising eyebrows.
We have a failing health care. I shouldn't say this to our great gentleman and my friend from Australia, because you have better health care than we do.
Australia has publicly funded universal health care, the kind of plan Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders long pushed for.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll quote you on the floor of the Senate.
Today, Trump on defense, tweeting, of course the Australians have better health care than we do. Everybody does. Obamacare is dead. As the dust settles on Capitol Hill, growing concern the process was rushed.
I just got back from baseball practice.
Do you wish you had more time?
No, I'm ready to go.
This was Representative Chris Collins ahead of the big vote.
You had a chance to read the full latest version that's posted?
Oh, sure. We're comfortable that everyone's had a chance to absolutely scrutinize and read through this bill.
But hours later...
Did you actually sit down and read the entire bill plus all of the amendments?
I will fully admit, Wolf, I did not.
Something lawmakers might have missed, a last-minute addition that could affect millions of Americans who get health insurance through their employers, about half the country. Right now, there's a limit to how much they pay out of pocket for coverage. But under the House bill, that limit could go away and their costs could soar.
Now we'll go to work on a Senate bill.
The Senate is already eyeing changes to the House's plan to cut funding for Medicaid, hitting poor and disabled Americans. And their move to allow states to opt out of the provision preventing insurance companies from charging more for people with pre-existing conditions. On Twitter, the hashtag #IamAPre-existing-condition taking off. People worried the bill may limit their coverage. Like Catherine Dyer, a breast cancer survivor with epilepsy. Her photo retweeted more than 3,000 times.
And Mary Bruce with us live from Capitol Hill tonight. And Mary, the Congressional Budget Office scored an early version of the bill and determined 24 million more Americans would be uninsured in 10 years. But this final House bill has not been scored yet. When do we know how many fewer could be covered with this?
David, that new report could be released as early as Monday, and Senate Republicans are eager to see those new numbers, but they've already made clear they plan to start from scratch. David.
Mary Bruce tonight, thank you. Next this evening, the White House staff arriving for work this morning to learn that the chief usher, the first woman to hold the job, had been let go. And today, the White House was asked why. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega.
The first woman and second African-American to serve as chief usher at the White House tonight is out of a job.
I am able to walk here now when 100 years ago a president or first lady did, or other guests did, or some of my ancestors did. It gives me a sense of awe.
Angela Reed was fired after more than 5 years in one of the most important behind-the-scenes roles at the White House, where she managed its staff and residents and worked closely with the president and first family.
The fact that slaves built this house, and I now work in this house as a leader, something out of my wildest dreams.
After the inauguration, in President Trump's first interview at the White House, he led the chief usher out of the elevator to introduce her to David Muir.
I'm going to put you on camera. This
young lady has done such a fantastic job in terms of transition and...
Angela, nice to see you.
Very nice to meet you as well.
You didn't know this was going to happen,
No,
right?
No, she didn't know, but she's a great person and has done just a great job, and her staff. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Reid then discreetly backs away from our cameras. Tonight, sources tell ABC News there was tension between Reid, the Trump administration, and some White House staffers. The White House offering few details.
She is no longer employed here at the White House, but we left on very good terms and wish her the very best. It's not uncommon that you might have a transition of staff when a new administration comes in, and it's simply nothing more than that.
But ushers don't typically change with administrations. Only 9 people have held the role of chief usher in the last 132 years.
So let's get to Cecilia live at the White House tonight. And Cecilia, you mentioned there, this is a pivotal job that rarely changes, even among administrations. What's the White House doing right now to fill the position?
Well, David, the White House says that the deputy usher will be taking Reid's place for now, David, in an acting role.
All right, Cecilia Vega with us again tonight. Cecilia, thank you. Next tonight overseas, the fight against the terror group Al-Shabaab has taken the life of a U.S. Navy SEAL in Somalia. He was killed as part of an advise and assist mission, the team landing by helicopter, targeting an Al-Shabaab compound. His identity not yet revealed. He is the second SEAL to lose his life since Donald Trump became president. We turn next to an election you're going to want to watch closely this weekend. It is a big test of whether nationalism is sweeping the globe or if it'll be stopped. Sunday's election for the president of France is a face-off between a female candidate who admires Donald Trump, Marine Le Pen, and a moderate just endorsed by President Obama. Here tonight, ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran.
The frantic final hours of campaigning in France, this election testing whether the nationalism unleashed in the U.S. is taking root in Europe. The choice could not be clearer. Marine Le Pen, an admirer of President Trump. She even visited Trump Tower after last November's election, though she didn't meet with him. She's a far-right nationalist candidate, anti-European Union, anti-immigration, and anti-Islam. She was egged at a campaign stop yesterday, her bodyguards hustling her away. Her rival, Emmanuel Macron, the political novice. He's pro-immigration, pro-EU, more tolerant. And this week, he got a big and unusual American endorsement.
I am supporting Emmanuel Macron to lead you forward.
No endorsement from President Trump, but he did recently call Le Pen strongest on borders and the strongest on what's been going on in France. The only debate filled with bitter insults and fiery exchanges. Le Pen calling Macron the privileged child of the system and the elites. He called her the high priestess of fear. Le Pen, a lifelong politician, inheriting her political party from her father, a convicted racist and Holocaust skeptic. Macron, a fresh face. His marriage to a woman 25 years older than he, she was his high school drama coach, has only seemed to help him. Tonight, there's news of a massive hack of the Macron campaign, just like Hillary Clinton's. Still, he's 20 points and more ahead in the polls. But many French voters have been turned off by this whole campaign, and turnout will be key. David?
All right, we'll be watching along with you, Terry. Thank you. There is an encouraging report back here at home on the economy tonight. Employers adding 211,000 jobs in April, twice as many as in March. And the unemployment rate dropping to 4.4%. That's the lowest in 10 years. Economists expecting that strength makes it more likely interest rates will go up next month. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Friday. The shocking new video inside an American high school, a student in a chokehold, then thrown to the ground after another video showing the same officer in another violent confrontation. Was it excessive force? And that new headline tonight. The narrow escape on the interstate, debris coming loose after a truck slams into an overpass, multiple drivers hit. And then the skydive gone horribly wrong. A jumper stuck beneath the plane, off in the distance there. How he survives this harrowing brush with death. A lot more ahead tonight.
I will never wash my hair again.
I will never
wash my hair again. Now, I feel it. New Pantene doesn't just wash your hair, it fuels it with the first Pro V nutrient blend, making every strand stronger. Don't just wash your hair.
Fuel it.
Fuel your hair, because strong is beautiful.
Your brain changes as you get older, but Prevagen helps your brain with an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, the name to remember.
As soon as I left the hospital after a DVT blood clot, I sure had a lot to think about. What about the people I care about, including this little girl? And what if this happened again? I was given warfarin in the hospital, but wondered, was this the best treatment for me? So I asked my doctor, and he recommended Eliquis. Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots and reduces the risk of them happening again. Yes, Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots. Eliquis also had significantly less major bleeding than the standard treatment. Both made me turn around my thinking.
Don't stop Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. If you had a spinal injection while on Eliquis, call your doctor right away if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for bleeding to stop. Seek immediate